I was going into the book of Matthew and showing that we have a problem in English as far as the genealogy of Yeshua as it's listed. We have a problem with Greek. Because just to give a quick overview, it says that there are 14 generations between Abraham and David, from David to the carrying away into Babylon, 14 more generations, and then 14 from the carrying away into Babylon unto Messiah, as it says in Matthew 1, chapter 1. But there are only 13 generations there. And we have a problem because this is purportedly the Joseph, the husband of Mary, as it says, but yet we see in the book of Luke that we have Joseph, the supposed father of Yeshua, and his father's name, and Joseph and his father's name is Eli. We have a problem that could not be solved in Greek because it said that Joseph, he was, that Mary was the, what does it say? What does it say?
So here's, I can tell you the Jewish perspective, and I've actually seen a lot of Jewish counter-missionaries bring this.
Oh, okay.
And they'll say, you Christians are claiming your Yeshua is descended from David, but there's two contradictory genealogies. There's a genealogy in Luke, and there's a genealogy in Matthew, and they both trace back to Joseph, the stepfather or supposed father of Yeshua. And there's two completely different lists. They both go through David, but through completely different routes after David to get to Joseph. And their argument is, well, if you can't get the genealogy right, why would we take him seriously as a descendant of David?
And this is exactly their point, and this is why they offered a $10,000 reward.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
This is one of the first things that I got when I came into the city streets of Jerusalem back before the turn of the century. And I came in, and here are 10 things that $10,000 reward for Christians who could answer this from the Christian Bible. And I thought, what a coincidence, I could use $10,000, and here are 10 questions. And so here's one of them.
Right.
Prove from the Christian scriptures that Jesus is any relative of King David. And, this was written by Jewish lawyers, people. They don't want to give away $10,000. Now, your father is a Jewish lawyer and a rabbi. There's no way that you're going to sneak anything by a Jewish lawyer, okay? They're going to know, and all you have to do is prove this from the Christian Bible.
Michael, these are Talmudic contracts where they study the minutia of why this word was chosen. I mean, they spend all day studying in the Talmud why certain words are used versus a different word, and then they go and put that in the contract, and they choose things very deliberately. And it's interesting that you were challenged there to explain that. And I think at the time in 2005, the way you were explaining this is you were saying, well, actually Luke is, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Luke is the genealogy of Joseph, the husband of Miriam.
Right,
and
the supposed father.
Right, and that Matthew was the genealogy of Joseph, the father of Miriam, two different Josephs.
Right, that's why I was proposing, but even in the King James it says that Joseph, the husband of Mary. That's what it says.
So in other words, it said husband, but you were saying it really should say father.
Father.
And then you were bringing the Aramaic word guvra, which means man, which I think
mighty man.
Okay, but I think usually that means husband, and my understanding is you were saying that although maybe it usually means husband. In this case, it actually could mean father. Is what you were saying? Is that more or less right?
Right. It could be. It could be the one. In Greek, it is an heir. It's simply a man of full age.
Yeah.
So the Greek doesn't help us at all. It doesn't say husband, doesn't say father.
I wasn't convinced at the time that the Aramaic helped, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah. And I'm looking for the solution. Yeah. And of course, from your background, you're not looking for a solution. This is my problem.
It's not a problem to me.
Yeah, it's not a problem. I can't prove that Yeshua is any relative of King David, and without that proof, there's no way that he can be the Messiah. That's the point of the rabbinic $10,000 reward.
I had heard you give that talk probably, I don't know,
42
times.
You did.
I don't know that I was listening all 42 times, Michael, but I heard you at least give it 35 times that I was, in the room. And I remember shortly after that, I was in the library at Givat Ram at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, in the basement in the Institute of Microfilmed Hebrew Manuscripts, and I was searching for more manuscripts of Hebrew Matthew. And it was really a painstaking process, you know, and I've talked in the past about discovering Hebrew Matthew, and people have this image that I'm, you know, digging a hole in the sand, and it's not at all what it was like. I was sitting in front of a computer screen, searching through a database of 90,000 Hebrew manuscripts that had pearls buried in that database. Just beautiful things that you'd never know it was there because it would be listed as Jewish polemical work or Jewish philosophical work, and who knows what's in that? Nobody knows. Or there are even things in that catalog, in that database, where it was listed as Hebrew New Testament. Well, is that Hebrew New Testament a translation from Latin or Greek, or is it a copy of Hebrew Matthew, which is an originally document? I don't know. I mean, I'll give you an example. One item. It was a single item, a single line in the catalog. It mentions Hebrew works at the Vatican Library, and what they have is literally a box, a wooden box, and in that wooden box is hundreds of pages from different manuscripts. You know, a page would fall out of a manuscript there, a page there. Maybe the original manuscript's lost, but they have that page. And that page who knows? And there's pages in Latin and Greek and Hebrew, and one of those pages may turn out to be a page from the Gospel of Matthew in Hebrew. I end up finding 2 manuscripts. Each of those are only a single page, one single chapter, I should say, from Matthew chapter 1, and both of these 2 manuscripts from Matthew chapter 1, which Howard didn't know about. I can't tell that anybody, as far as I know, nobody else knew about these 2 copies of Hebrew Matthew. The last 2 I discovered of the 28 I know about so far. And those 2 said, and you actually published them. This is pretty cool. Am I jumping ahead?
No, go ahead. You know, you're the one that found them. You're the one that gave them to me. I want you to tell the story here.
So the story is, I find these 2 manuscripts, and I'm reading along, and they're only 1 page, so I decide, okay, I'll you know, I don't have time to read 28 manuscripts while I'm sitting there at the library. That's why I try to get photographs of them and bring them back and read them on my computer. But these are 1 page, so I'm reading through, and I see it says, Yosef Avi Miriam, Joseph, the father of Miriam. And I had heard you say that 42 times, trying to tell people that that's what it could say in the Aramaic. And I read Aramaic, and I'm like, I'm just not convinced. Because to me, Guvra, normally it means husband. And I understand why you want it to mean father, but it doesn't say father. And there I am looking at this in the library, and I'm thinking, this can't be. There it is. And then I find a second manuscript that says the same thing, and I'm like, all right, I got to tell Michael about this. And I think I contacted you immediately, and I said, Michael,
we were at the Feast of Trumpets. It was the last day.
Oh, okay.
And that was, what happened is that your father was in a coma. And it looked like he was gone.
Yeah.
We all prayed for him the night before.
That's right.
You know, we were all together, the entire convention together. We prayed for your father.
Oh, wow.
We were standing at the door. The phone rings, and it's your sister, and you think it's your father's passed.
Yeah.
And she says...
actually it started with a text message, and I still have a screenshot of this. It was a text message that says, Dad is dead. And... you know, there I am in Albuquerque, New Mexico with you guys, and my father's, I knew he was on his deathbed, but, you know, I was doing what I was doing. And then I get another message. It wasn't a phone call. It was a second message, a short time later, that says, I guess it's the next morning, Dad's alive. And I'm like, what? You just texted me he's dead. And what she was sending me is, you know, it looked like imminently within a few minutes he would be dead. So she had jumped ahead and sent that, and you know, we prayed.
And that's what we prayed for.
Yeah. And now look, he eventually did pass away, but it wasn't that day, it wasn't that night, it was.
But it was that morning.
A week or
she
two
said,
later.
You called and said your father wants to talk to you. I was staying there, and you stepped aside. You walked away, and you spoke to your father. Yeah. And then you came back and said, I've got something for you. Yeah. And you pulled up those images on your phone and said, this is what you're looking for.
And I actually did take these images on my iPhone 4, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So they were on you have to understand, so these are manuscripts in, one of them is at Oxford University, and the other is in New York at a Jewish seminary, and 2 different places in the world. And what we have in Jerusalem at the Institute of Microfilm and Human Manuscripts are these microfilms. I mean, this is old school stuff, Michael. I'm taking out this microfilm and I'm twirling it around, and I'm like, you know, spinning it through, and it's on this reader, and it's difficult to read. And what I do in this case is I take a photo on my iPhone, and I shared that photo with you, and you actually have have this here, and I love what you did here actually, where you kind of highlighted it. I don't know how you did that in like Photoshop or something, where you highlight the portion so people can focus on where it says Yosef Avi Miriam in 2 manuscripts, 2 witnesses in 2 different countries. It's amazing. Now, here it is. Here's an example where you start with the Aramaic, and the Aramaic gives you a direction, but it's not definitive. And the Hebrew is definitive. Avi is father.
There's
Avi,
no question about it.
Abba is father, and Avi is my father. There's no question, or the father.
So now you got Miriam, who is the father.
Well, Joseph
Joseph
is
the father of Miriam, and his father is Yaakov. And that goes back to King David through Solomon.
Yeah.
But in Luke, we have Yeshua's supposed father, whose name is also Yosef, but his father's name is Eli, and he goes back to King David through Nathan.
So we can see what happened here is there were 2 men named Joseph, Yosef. One was the father of Miriam, and one was the husband of Miriam. And somewhere in the scribal tradition, somebody got confused and said it, and he might have been subconscious. He remembered the last time he had copied this in Luke. Joseph was.
Yeah, everyone knows that Joseph is the husband of Mary.
Right.
I mean, that's the most common thing Who her father was, who cares?
Right.
Especially
Except
from a Gentile perspective.
Matthew seemed to have cared, though, is the point.
Right.
But somewhere in the scribal tradition, this got lost. And the amazing thing is, there's 2 Hebrew manuscripts that have preserved it. That's just incredible. And
here's the point I want to make, ladies and gentlemen. Nehemia didn't have to give this to me. This is no benefit to him at all to give me the proof that Yeshua is a direct lineage of King David.
No, this gets me in trouble, Michael. Let's be honest.
Right.
It gets me in trouble with the Jewish spiritual police, who don't want me handing this information. Which and I've had people say to me, like, wait, no. Our job here is to convince them to deny Jesus. Why are you giving them this? I said, but this is true. It's a Hebrew manuscript. What do you want me to do? I should hide it? I don't believe in hiding information. I believe information needs to get out. The light needs to get out. The truth will set us free. And if there's something true, I'm never going to be afraid of that.